Little did Tula know she was about to beat all the odds by surviving both a plane crash and a helicopter crash within the space of a few hours. To find out more about this mind-boggling event, plus plenty more that'll make you say, what are the odds? Just stick around for this episode of 1 in a Million Coincidences You'll Have to See to Believe.
Yo, what's good guys? Kelvin here. Today we're gonna be looking at 1 in a million coincidence. So it's gonna be a pretty interesting video. Hopefully you guys can get this video an early thumbs up. Really help out the channel. And yeah, let's get right in or so.
Twinception. Here's a $1 million question. Are these guys A, twins, B, the same guy in 2 different outfits, or C, not related in the slightest?
Twins,
If
baby.
you answered C, congratulations. You're a winner, baby. Although these 2 minor league baseball players seem like a dead ringer for identical twins on first glance, they actually share no DNA. Their ginger beards and glasses aren't the only similarities either. Both men are named Brady Fiegel and each stands 6'4". Even more spooky is that both players underwent Tommy John surgery to repair a torn ulnar collateral ligament inside the elbow, caused by repetitive throwing and catching, and even used the same doctor. When it comes to differences, one Brady is left-handed, though the other throws right-handed. While one Brady is 24 years old and plays for a single-A affiliate of the Oakland Athletics, but the other is 29 and pitches for the Texas Rangers AAA club. The pair first learned about each other after the younger Brady was mistaken for the older Brady by the office of Dr. James Andrews, the surgeon who operated on their elbows in 2015. Confusion over the 2 doppelgangers has run rampant online, with the old Miss Baseball social media account even wishing the wrong Brady a happy birthday on Twitter in November 2017. In February 2019, the 2 players decided to settle the score for good by meeting for the first time and taking a DNA test. Unfortunately, the tests only confirmed what they already knew. The pair do not share any DNA. Just good genes, I guess.
Dude, that is just crazy. They have the same name, same height, same glasses, even the same beard, and they are not even 1% related. What in the world?
Luckiest shot. You may think you have skills, but you don't know anything until you hear the incredible war story of Owen J. Baggett. During World War II, Baggett served as 2nd Lieutenant in the 7th Bomb Group of the United States of America Army Forces. The group was working with the 10th Air Force in India, which was responsible for defending the supply line from China to India, as well as interfering with the Japanese supply line from the north of the country to Rangoon, Burma. The pilots would fly B-24 bomber planes in formation. During one of these missions, the B-24s of Baggett's unit were intercepted by Japanese fighters and both sides opened fire. Baggett's plane received a serious hit to the fuel tanks and the oxygen bottles around him, and his comrades shattered. Although the crew did everything to try and save it, it soon became apparent that the aircraft was finished. Baggett and the others jumped from the burning plane moments before it exploded and opened their parachutes to make their descent. But the peril was far from over. The Japanese fighters started firing at the men and managed to shoot 2 of the crew members out of the sky. Baggett was shot in the arm and decided to play dead, but quickly pulled his .45 caliber handgun out of its holster and rested it against the side of his leg. The enemy pilot opened his canopy to get a better look, a mistake that proved fatal. Thinking fast, Baggett raised the pistol and took 4 shots. Miraculously, one of the bullets struck the enemy pilot in the head and caused the plane to enter a tailspin before crashing, as Baggett landed among his remaining crew members. Talk about a 1 in a million shot.
Dang, that is...
Runs in the family. On the 1st of December 1973, 16-year-old high schooler Carol Briggs from Pittsburgh, USA, gave birth to a baby boy named John Kenneth Briggs. Briggs decided to keep the baby a secret from everyone apart from her immediate family. She even decided against telling the father, a teenage fling who had gone to college on a scholarship before even she realized she was pregnant. When he was 6 weeks old, she agreed to put the baby up for adoption. Flash forward to November 2017, and Briggs's baby, 44-year-old former NFL player and now coach DeLand McCullough, decided it was time to look for his birth parents. McCullough had been adopted by Adele Comer before moving to Southern Carolina and starting his own family with his wife Darnell. New laws in Ohio and Pennsylvania had called for the unsealing of adoption records, and McCullough finally received his adoption papers in the mail. His original birth certificate showed his birth name, John Kenneth Briggs, and the name of his mother, Carol Denise Briggs, but there was no mention of his father. After tracking down his mother on Facebook, McCullough couldn't wait to ask about his father. But when Briggs spoke his name, Sherman Smith, McCullough nearly passed out. Not only had he known his father for 28 years, but Smith was also his running coach and mentor who McCullough had looked up to since he was 16 years old.
Wow.
People had always joked how alike the two looked, but neither thought anything of it. Not only did they look alike, but both men are incredible sportsmen. I guess you could say it runs in the family.
What the heck? That is crazy. I mean, so he just basically met his dad not even knowing that it's actually his biological dad. Wow. That is one of the craziest coincidences ever. I am super excited.
Bucket list bravery. What's on your bucket list? Visit the Eiffel Tower, swim with the dolphins, get the perfect body? 17-year-old Rebecca Townsend from Connecticut had just 3 things on hers. 1. Kiss in the rain. 2. Fly to Spain. And 3. Save a life. The goals were part of a school assignment, and over the next few years after writing it, Rebecca had ticked off the first 2. She flew to Spain with her family and kissed her boyfriend in the rain. After graduating from high school in 2015, Rebecca was due to attend Notre Dame, but tragedy struck on July 2nd. That fateful night, while on the way back from a fireworks display, Rebecca and her friend Ben Arn were hit by a car. Sadly, Rebecca did not survive the accident, but it seems like she managed to complete her bucket list in her final moments. The last thing Ben remembers from that night is Rebecca pushing him out of the way of the car and telling him to hurry, saving his life and sacrificing hers in the process.
Oh my god. Holy crap, that is so hard to watch. I bet Rebecca really loved Ben. That's why she decided to sacrifice her own life to save her friend's life. Wow, she is like one of the best friends you can ever get. Man, that is so sad. I thought she would survive, saving someone's life, but she got killed at the end.
Rebecca's family set up a Facebook page in their daughter's memory called Remembering Rebecca, and in the years since, people all over the world have been committing small acts of altruism in her name. We should all be a bit more like Rebecca Townsend, don't you think?
She is just so kind.
Canine intuition. Any pet owner will agree that having a dog or cat run away from home is the stuff of nightmares. Plastering posters around town, going door to door, and even setting up dedicated social media pages can bring you no further to finding your beloved animal. But you should always trust your pet's instincts before giving up hope completely. In August 2020, the Putaraksa Veterinary Clinic in Bangpoo, Thailand, posted some incredible surveillance footage on their Facebook page, which proves that most pets will do anything to get back home.
Oh, cutest thing ever.
At first, the staff probably thought the little black puppy waiting on their doorstep was a local stray, but that couldn't be further from the truth. When someone eventually let the dog inside, the vet recognized it as one of their own patients. Apparently, this pup had been receiving monthly vaccinations at the clinic since it was just 1 month old. When the dog ran away from home and got lost on the busy streets, he was able to follow his nose to the familiar vets where he could ask for help. Luckily, the vet was able to reunite the pup with his owner, who was overjoyed after being separated
Man,
from her
that
beloved
pup
animal
is
for
so
around
smart.
15 hours.
So smart.
I'm not crying, you are.
Wow, so good.
Thrill of the chase. This next one was sent in by an anonymous viewer, but we'll call him Jim for story purposes. According to Jim, who's now in his 60s, it all took place in the early 1970s in Westland, Michigan when he was still a teenager. Jim and his friends would ride their bikes on private property, with the owner's permission, that was adjacent to the John Glenn High School and separated by a small wooded area. One day, the owner decided to sell the property and revoked permission to ride there. But Jim and his pals had no idea and only discovered they were trespassing when a police car arrived one Saturday afternoon. The teenagers panicked and decided to flee through the woods,
bad
knowing the
idea.
cop car was unable to follow them. Assuming the cops had given up altogether, Jim stayed to ride some more until an officer on a motorbike showed up about 15 minutes later. Thinking fast, Jim took off into the woods again. But he knew the cop bike could go wherever his mini bike could. With the officer hot on his tail, Jim rode past the school onto the suburban streets and made it home, which was about a mile away. Although he was relieved to have made a lucky escape, he wondered why the cop never caught up with him. Then, 20 years later, Jim was talking to his brother, a fellow motorbike enthusiast, who mentioned that he worked with a former policeman at the Ford Livonia transmission plant, who claimed he only ever had one accident while working as a motor officer. Apparently, he'd been chasing a kid on a mini bike who drove down the school pedestrian walkway, and he jammed his bike trying to go through the poles at the end of the path. The officer went door to door looking for Jim, but eventually gave up. When Jim's brother showed his coworker a photo of his brother's old motorbike, he knew instantly it was him.
Oh my
Thankfully,
goodness.
the only thing hurt in the process of this insane coincidence was the officer's pride and some damage to his old bike.
I mean, now the officer knew that Jim actually got away. 20 years later, he finally found out the truth. Can he still press charges on Jim? Because it's so old, like the case is so old, 20 years old. But here's another thing. Cases or criminal records, they do not expire. When you did something wrong, it keep on the record, it will stay on you forever. So technically, the officer can still press some charges for illegal trespassing.
Pretty neat story, huh? If any of you
Yes.
guys have any more incredible coincidences you'd like to share, make sure to write in at coincidences@beamazed.com, and you might earn yourself a shout out in a future episode. Now, let's get back to the juicy stuff. Summer Lovin'. In summer 2017, Heidi Parker and Ed Savitt tied the knot in Derbyshire, UK. The lovebirds, who now live in London, first met at Newcastle University in 2011 when Ed was studying psychology and business and Heidi was studying economics and management. Or so they thought. They got talking when Ed messaged Heidi asking her how to use the tumble dryer in his student accommodation, as she had been a previous tenant. Now there's a new pickup line. 4 years after they started dating, the couple went for dinner with both of their mothers in southwest London. During the dinner, Heidi's mother, Kay Parker, mentioned that Heidi had a holiday romance with a boy called Ed when she was 6 years old. The group laughed at the coincidence, but didn't think much of it, until 2 weeks later when Kay was rummaging in the attic and came across a photo of her daughter with the boy from their family holiday to Turkey in 1997. Shockingly, Kay instantly recognized him as Heidi's current boyfriend, Ed. Ed's family then dug out their own photo album from the same holiday and found more photos of the duo. Ed and Heidi were so dumbstruck by the coincidence that they even decided to recreate one of the shots decades later. Separated as kids, reunited as students, and married as adults.
Oh my god, that is like one of the best love stories ever. They met as a kid, right? And didn't even know, but a decade later, they actually got married. What the heck?
And I can't even get a text back.
Me too.
Bait and switch. This next coincidence was sent in by a viewer named Jeremy from the city of Terrebonne in Quebec, India. Jeremy is an avid fisherman and loves to fish by the riverside of La Riviera des Mille Îles. Although it's a fun hobby, fishing there can sometimes get difficult when the water is low, because the lure can often get stuck at the bottom of the river. On the 20th of June 2019, Jeremy prepared to go fishing at the river and grabbed his favorite lure, which had already brought him great luck catching walleyes and carps in the past. But not long into the trip, the lure got caught at the bottom of the river and broke off. Distraught, Jeremy swore never to replace the lure. Then, almost a year later, on the morning of the 16th of June 2020, he cast his line when it snagged on something big. Excited by the prospect of a juicy catch, Jeremy brought in the line to discover it was nothing but a branch. But on closer inspection, he noticed something else. His favorite lure was tangled up in it too. Jeremy had just been reunited with the lure when he lost it again to a greedy lake sturgeon. It seemed the story was over until he embarked on yet another trip on his uncle's motorboat nearly 2 months later on the 1st of August 2020. During that trip, Jeremy caught an impressive fish, and not just any fish, but the exact same lake sturgeon, which still had the lure hanging from its gills. If I were you, Jeremy, I'd frame that lure for good luck.
Me too. That is one lucky thing right there. It might be one of the luckiest. If you want to go buy like a lottery ticket, carry that lure to the store, okay? Put it in your pocket and then buy a lottery ticket. It might just bring you a lot of good luck.
Double disaster. Tula Havadanen and her friend Maria Elisa Falkenberg had been working in Iceland as physical therapists since January 1979. As December rolled around, the pair prepared to return home for the holidays. They decided to take a scenic flight over southwest Iceland and asked their friend Gerard Delavet to fly them. John Murtaugh Russell, or Russ, was the last person to join them aboard the four-seat plane. They took off from Reykjavik Airport and flew over Gullfoss Waterfall and Geysir, as well as Pingvalvatn Lake. Everything was going smoothly until the plane crashed suddenly over Mosfellsheed Heath. All four people were severely injured, but they managed to get out of the wreckage and wait in the snow for help. Rescue workers soon arrived on the scene, followed by a large U.S. rescue helicopter, but the ordeal was far from over. The decision was made to fly Russ to the hospital first and bring back 2 doctors to attend to the rest. When the helicopter returned, there were 11 people on board, including Tula, Maria, and Gerard, the original plane's pilot. But just a few minutes after takeoff, the helicopter also crashed just hundreds of meters from the first accident site.
What the heck?
Thankfully, Tula and Maria were able to haul themselves from the wreckage a second time and received some much-needed painkillers right away. All Tula remembers is insisting that she was transported to the hospital by ambulance this time. Who can blame her?
What the man, what are the odds of that happening, you know? But yeah guys, that is the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell notification, and my social media link is in the description below. And yeah, my name is Calvin and I'll see you guys next video.